Hello YouTube, welcome to channel Anna Bella, and today I'm going to be reviewing His Dark Materials episode 4, Armour. And I really should say that this episode highlighted to me three things. One, the excellent use of CGI in Eric Bernstead's The Bear's eyes. He was absolutely phenomenal. You could see the fighter in that bear's eyes. It was awesome. Also, the hair. I loved the aeronaut's hair. She was perfect. One point, CGI was brilliant all the way through, but this is my one point about it, was Pan. Pan puffed up into that lovely Arctic wolf, not Arctic fox, not wolf, sorry. Very, very small. Or it was either sort of an Arctic wolf pup or an Arctic fox pup. I couldn't kind of make it out. But there was this bird's eye view shot of Lyra walking next to Lee Rigby, the aeronaut, and you could see his hair and you could see the bear, but you couldn't see Pan anywhere in the form of his Arctic wolf / Arctic fox. That was annoying. My second point that I wish to make was I think Mrs. Coulter is probably a witch, and that's just my little tidbit that I think. And also my third point is this was very much a film of gathering of allies. So you had the Egyptians, you had gathering of the bear, and you had the aeronaut. So it was gathering the forces together. We were in this episode, we're very much back on the Golden Compass Northern Lights storyline, gathering of the allies, understanding the North village that we're in, and it's quite horrific, and seeing how bad the Magisterium is, and the fact that some witches are in league with the Magisterium. Cough, cough, Mrs. Coulter, also known as Marissa. That is her name. And it's interesting how she wants to control Lord Asriel, as he's controlled her in the past by impregnating her. It's all very, very odd and strange. We're very much in this episode on the Golden Compass Northern Light storyline, though they did hint in the next episode, episode 5, that we will be doing some more subtle knife probing, which did look quite good. CGI was interesting, and sometimes I think that they do accidentally miss off some of the demons. And I know that's obviously for monetary reasons, but I think that how they do the lizards, the snakes, and the beetles of the Magisterium, they're really well done. But I find that the hair was excellently done, really, really well done. The bear, obviously it's not a demon, was really well done, and I actually like the other bear as well. And this whole business of baptism. And it's interesting. Do animals need baptism? Interesting point, Mr. Pullman. And then if you baptize a person in their world, because their soul is on the outside in the form of an animal, you're baptizing an animal as well. Interesting. Many things. I really enjoyed episode 4. It was basically gathering of allies and strengthening the bond and explaining and enhancing the world. This episode was great world building. That is what I have to say. It built the world layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. I love the fact that we had to go through a conduit to get to the witches, and it was really interesting because this episode really showed the power of patriarchy, how Lyra had to go through men, even with her alethiometer and her intuition that she's able to read it, but she had to go through blokes to access other women. It's so odd. And it really is weird. And also Mrs. Coulter, she had to go through men to get what she wanted as well. And that's an interesting point about women and how Philip Pullman sees them. And another interesting point is Lyra's old enough to have periods, but it's never mentioned. Never ever mentioned. Never discussed. And obviously, Philip Pullman's an Oxford Don, he wouldn't know. But you'd think like her and Ma, Billy Costa's Ma, would have a conversation regarding that. And it was interesting that Lyra was talking to Pan about something. And then Billy Costa's brother came up and suddenly she was talking to him about it, as if to make her more relatable. I actually like it when Lyra has interaction with Pan. I like the fact that she's talking to her soul. I think that's quite good. And I obviously understand why they introduced, they gave Billy Costa's brother a bigger part, because I think that's important. But another point that is also quite interesting in this is the development of adult relationships and how they work in this world, because they seem to be highly regulated via the Magisterium, and that in itself is interesting. And the fact that Yeah, there's so many questions. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this review. Sorry it's a little bit short, but I actually really enjoyed episode 4, The Gathering of Allies, also Armour, and the fact that Armour can be a soul. I find that really interesting. The fact that the bears' armour is their soul, so they don't really need a demon. That point is going to come up later in the show. Hope you enjoyed this review. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for your support. Bye, everybody.